Faisal Viwanjani. I hope you will not expect me to speak in Kiswahili. Thank you, Robin Toskin and Hassan Juma. I'd like to talk about the African candidates to begin with. What are his chances? Hassan.
I'll be very honest with you, Yvonne. This is a two-horse race between Infantino and the Bahrain president, federation president.
Right.
Because first and foremost, Sexuale does not even have the African backing. Come Friday, 52 associations, 52 countries from Africa are expected to go to vote. However, when you look at the way the voting is, those nations, those associations are voting as a bloc. The African bloc is behind the Bahrain guy, Sheikh Salman.
How did this happen? That the African bloc is why, for example, are they backing Salman?
Yeah, they've already thrown their weight behind the AFC president, that is Salman bin Ibrahim Al Khalifa, and they are saying that they will always vote for anyone who has Africa's interests at heart. And if you remember,
Turkey doesn't have Africa's interests at heart.
He's got Africa's interests at heart, but the fact that maybe he's not one of those powerful, wheeler dealers within the FIFA corridors, and then it makes it really difficult for him to try and get votes. You've got to get votes from other confederations.
Right.
In this case, his critics are saying that he's only looking up to Africa to support his bid, which is not forthcoming. And remember, just a week ago, or last month, the South African Football Federation summoned him to ask him what is the progress of his campaign, and they were concerned that Sexuale's campaign is losing traction, despite the fact that it is South Africa that gave their backing for him to stand as a cabinet as a candidate. Right. Remember, for you to stand as a FIFA candidate, you must have the backing of 5 federations. So South Africa's Federation SAFA is one of those that gave him his backing, but they are worried that his campaign is lacking that traction.
Even maybe just to add on what Toskin is saying, he was indicted in 2010 over corruption allegations. And we are holding these elections because of him and the likes of Sepp Blatter.
Right.
Corruption allegations.
Absolutely.
FIFA right now is trying to clean up the mess that was left behind by Sepp Blatter, Michel Platini and the likes.
Yeah, and we'll come to the corruption and the rot that's in FIFA at the moment. But Sepp Blatter enjoyed some considerable amount of support with the African federations. Hassan, why is that?
Because he managed to bring the World Cup to Africa.
Okay.
And if you want to enjoy power, the trappings of power at the glass offices in Zurich, you have to please Africa, because Africa is the biggest, as a voting bloc, 52 nations. That's a big
actually
bloc.
54.
54.
Okay.
It's the biggest.
That's a big bloc.
That's the biggest bloc.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, he brought football to Africa. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this mess in FIFA and the person that's going to take over. And we'll get to what happens on the local scene as well, because it's not like we're doing any better in Kenya specifically. But doing some reading on this issue, FIFA is run like an association, where you cannot question or take a look at the salaries of the people. At what point did money and football get so mixed up, Robin?
I think you've got to go back to the history of FIFA. Since its inception, I think in the early 1900s, it wasn't really a big commercial entity as we know it today, until 1974, when a former FIFA president from Brazil, João Avelange, took power from an English president for that matter. He went all out to make sure that FIFA becomes a profitable organization, that for it to be able to run the game effectively around the globe, they have to have the money. And he went out, enticed companies like Coca-Cola, Adidas, they all came on board, and even McDonald's and Budweiser. Then from then on, FIFA started controlling billions of money, and with that, all these malpractices we are seeing within FIFA cropped up. Very well, anywhere there's a lot of money, there's always that want to dip fingers in the till.
And we didn't see this coming, as it was growing, and the sport was definitely growing, and billions of dollars that were being invested, and this being the most loved sport around the world. There were no checks and balances that were being put in as we were growing the sport?
I think at some point it became more of like a cartel. It's being controlled by few individuals.
Right.
They sit in their own cocoon, and you know, because they are power brokers. You know, they're so powerful that it's like a nation in its own, you know, way.
Let's talk about Kenyan football, because we're seeing pretty much the same thing that's happening in FIFA is happening in FKF. I mean, we were great, we were happy. You know, the elections were conducted peacefully. We got someone new at the helm, Sam Nyamweya. Pretty much pulled a Sepp Blatter, did he not? You know, sort of pulling out at the last minute.
It had been coming.
I tell you what,
All right.
there was pressure from all over the place. You know. I have reports, you know, from sources that, you know, there was pressure from the world governing body FIFA, because FIFA right now is trying to clean its own image.
So everywhere across the world, okay.
I believe State House, you know, social media in the country, you know, people were yearning for change. So I think he read the signs. There are signs all over the place.
All right, but then again, Nick Mwendwa has inherited, you know, an organization in debt.
Yeah, it's really difficult for him, because he's come out and the preliminary investigations show that FKF is, you know, in the red. They owe a lot of people about 172 million. And if you look at the parallels between FKF and FIFA, they're pretty much the same. Even at FIFA, whoever is going to inherit that position that is to be left by Blatter really has a lot of work to do. And FKF, for that matter, having elected Nick Mwendwa, they really now need to sit down, look at all the logistics that requires them to have a very good federation.
But in addition, Yvonne, I get the feeling from where I see that there is goodwill from all over the place. You know, there's fresh air. You know, things are being done well. All of a sudden, we have a woman vice president. In the
I saw her on your show yesterday.
It's interesting.
So okay, very quickly, because we're out of time. Just who you have your money on? Just give me one name.
Infantino.
Infantino. Robin?
I think Salman, Sheikh Salman will carry the day.
All right, we will put our money on that once the cameras have gone off in just a moment. Thank you both, Hassan Juma and Robin Toskin, who, by the way, is an editor here at the Standard newspaper, and Hassan Juma, who's the head of the sports desk, as well as the host of Zilizala Viwanjani. So